This is Misha Houston, and I'm here to do my review of the haves and the have nots. Tonight's episode is entitled Searching for a Mother's Love. And I thought that it was a pretty decent episode. It really wasn't much action going on, but it was very informatory. There was a lot of information about a lot of new characters, and there was also, more of a building up episode. It built up some things and put some things in order for something to happen later. So for that, I appreciate it. It wasn't the greatest episode, but it certainly wasn't the worst. And I do believe things are going to get more eventful in time, especially with this episode. As I said before, tonight's episode is called Searching for a Mother's Love. And all in all, I thought it was a pretty decent episode. So thank you so much for stopping by and watching my video. And here we go. The first group of people we go to is Melissa, Veronica, Benny, and Mitch. Veronica is screaming for help, but Melissa has not moved. She is choking on the smoke, and Melissa is just sitting there, and she's saying, I never smelled fried bitch before. You can tell that Melissa is has no feelings but hatred toward Veronica and just wants her to die. Mitch and Benny then, drive up and they get out of their car to try to help. They wonder why Melissa is just sitting there and warns her to move away from the car because it may explode. But Melissa just hopes that the car explodes. Mitch goes to get a fire extinguisher while Benny goes to help Veronica. Benny doesn't recognize Veronica in the car and vice versa, but they soon recognize each other, and Benny eventually pulls Veronica out of the car alive. So it sucks that Veronica is still alive. She's going to be horrible, even more so, and we're stuck with her for yet another season. We just can't get rid of Veronica, can we? The next group of people we go to is Jim, Broderick, Sarah, and the DA George, and also Oscar. Jim is once again bellowing at the front desk. He threatens Broderick, saying that if you don't let me have a room, I'm going to burn this bitch to the ground. Broderick folds and puts the hotel room in David's name and charges it to David's credit card. In the hotel room, Jim is lying in bed watching television. The DA George and a woman named Sarah is talking to the news reporter. DA George says that he is close to making an arrest in the DA Salison's murder case. He can't say if it will be a crier or not, but he will let the press know once he's, finished, with his arrest. And then he is seen walking away, and so is Sarah from the reporter. Jim knows Sarah and apparently wants to use her somehow. Then Oscar calls and stops by the room and tells Jim about Wyatt's situation, about, one person trying to use his credit card and another one trying to access his accounts, but the thieves were unsuccessful. Jim wants the money before the thieves can get their hands on it. Oscar says if his plans, were to work out, he could have the money by the end of the week. Oscar hopes to access his account and will keep Jim posted. Oscar also wants to know where to send the money, minus his fees, and Jim says that he will text him the information. Then Jim tells Oscar he wants him to get in touch with someone at the DA's office, but he wants for this to be done quietly, because if it is not done quietly, the whole thing could backfire in his face. The woman's name is Sarah Duffy, and Oscar says that he is on it. So apparently there's some kind of problem or some kind of situation with this woman named Sarah Duffy, and I think he may try to use her to get what he wants. We'll have to see about that. Now, the next group of people we go to is Melissa, Benny, the medics, the firefighters, Veronica, and Mitch. Now, as the firefighters are putting out the fire, the medics say that Veronica is going to be fine except for some smoke inhalation. Melissa only wants for Veronica to die and regrets Benny saving her life. Benny wants her to lay off the insults, and he also asks, "Who is this woman to you?" And Melissa answers that she is a pain in my ass and a wicked bitch and that she should have died. Benny notices the wounds on her wrist, but Melissa rebuffs him for wanting, you, rebuffs, him for wanting to go on to the hospital. But the medic says that it is policy that all of the people that were involved in this accident, need to go to the hospital, and Melissa agrees to go. Then Mitch comes over telling Benny that Veronica is calling for him. She pleads with Benny to go with her to the hospital. She says that she has no one, and he reluctantly agrees. He jumps in the back of the ambulance and holds her hand. So she's going to be clinging to Benny, even more so than she's done in the past. Benny is just making a mess, you know, even though I feel sorry for Benny stuck with Veronica like that. Now, the next group we go to is Wyatt, Oscar, and a man named Isaac. Now, Isaac is sitting on Wyatt's couch in his apartment when he wakes up. He informs Wyatt that Anna will no longer be coming by any longer. And since they had sex, she asked to be reassigned to another patient. Wyatt is shocked by this and upset, and he tries to call Anna, but she will not answer his call. Wyatt wants to talk to her, but Isaac says that it was not going to be possible. Isaac tries to help Wyatt and to be his new counselor, but Wyatt fires him and kicks him out of his apartment. I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised that Wyatt did that because Wyatt, is looking for someone to manipulate and control. He did it with Jeffrey and then he did it with Anna as well. I mean, they were both attracted to him and he used that to his advantage or disadvantage. But apparently he can't do that with Isaac, and he just wanted him out of the apartment. Then he gets a call on his cell phone from a man named Lyle Jefferson, who is Oscar, in pretense. He says that he is Lyle Jefferson from the Savannah PD. He tells Wyatt that an African American woman had been arrested with your credit card trying to access the money in the account. Wyatt's card is missing from his wallet, and he says that she was trying to rob him. Lyle, who is Oscar, wants his information to contact the bank with a police report. He asks him multiple times, but Wyatt says, "No, I'll handle it myself." Lyle says that you might want to call your credit card companies and change your password. Wyatt says okay and then hangs up in his face. After he hangs up, Oscar calls Wyatt an arrogant asshole. Well, at least Wyatt had the good sense not to give that man, his information. I think Wyatt's guard is really going to be up now, in regards to his money. I mean, someone's trying to rob him, and the smart thing for him to do is to get down to that bank and handle his business and keep his money in check before someone, tries to steal from him again. Now, the next two people we go to is Broderick and Rocky. In the back room at the Artesian Hotel, Broderick is upset by Jim and his threats to him. He tells Rocky that he has decided to go after Catherine. Apparently, he and Rocky are nothing but pimps running a prostitution ring out of the Artesian Hotel. Broderick says that she is rich, but Rocky says that revenge is a bad excuse to ruin their lucrative operation. Broderick wonders how long they can keep this going. He thinks that they should make some kind of other arrangements. Rocky says just to get more girls, but Broderick is not cool with that, even though the prostitution ring was his idea. Rocky wants to see the plan go through, but Broderick needs money now. Broderick is set on going after Catherine, but Rocky doesn't think that Catherine would ever acknowledge Broderick openly as her lover. Rocky says it is all about appearance in old Savannah. Broderick says that her husband is an asshole and is making her very unhappy. So, because of that, she would be an easy target. They discuss Catherine's monetary worth. Broderick knows that she is on the board of directors and that she is worth around $250 million. Broderick says all he has to do is get in and get Jim out. Broderick is determined to see his plan go through, and he says that he is starting it right now. So Catherine, really needs to watch her back, especially around a man like Broderick. He puts up a nice smile, but underneath he's nothing but a pimp looking for some whore to run. And I hope that Catherine doesn't get involved with him. Even though she shouldn't be involved with Jim, she obviously shouldn't be involved with Broderick either. And I have to wonder also, since Jim is so knowledgeable about all the whores in town, does he know about Rocky and Broderick's operation? He's probably, had whores, that were working for Broderick and Rocky. So, I mean, it's a very interesting story. I have to wonder what's gonna happen, between, that section of people, that group of people. I think it's gonna come back to haunt Jim. I think Jim is gonna be hurt the worst in all of this. Now, the next group of people we go to is Hannah, Derek, and Catherine. Hannah is humming in the kitchen when Derek stops by wanting to fix the sink. He's a very handsome older man, very handsome. I think he'd be nice for Hannah. They have small talk in the kitchen, saying that he built this house, and he also compliments her on her singing. And she tells him that she just moved in here but has no intention of staying long, just until she can find a place of her own. Now, Derek is a builder and he gives her his card. Then she gets a call from the medical examiner at the morgue saying that there are some items that she needs to pick up. Hannah tells him that her grandson had been killed and that she has to go, and that if he wants to turn the water off to fix the sink, go ahead and do so. Then she calls Catherine, who is trying to, who was trying to set the two of them up, obviously, and tells Catherine about the morgue situation. Catherine is cool with Derek being there alone, and Hannah leaves. As I said before, she's going down to the morgue, to pick up some personal effects, from Quincy, and I think that scene was one of the best scenes of the night, no doubt about it. The next two people we go to is Erica and David. It was just a small filler scene. David and Erica. David is trying to put together his bed when she comes back from shopping. She only spent $400 and says that's enough for right now. They talk, they flirt, they kiss. It was just a little filler scene. That's all it was. Wasn't much going on. Now, the next two people we go to is Candace and Oscar. Candace comes downstairs to pay for her hotel room when the attendant said that someone has paid the bill for 30 days. At the bar, Oscar sits down by her and confesses that he paid for the room in the hopes that she will go after Charles Frederickson. Candace says that he has moved on, but Oscar says that he may still be interested. He's still asking about her and he's still interested. Oscar also has people on the inside, so he knows the score. He asks her, "What is your plan? Are you just gonna stay here until you run out of money? Or rob these old men? Or until she goes to jail or until one of these old Johns kill her? What's your plan, Candace?" She doesn't answer and she just wants him to leave. But then he gets a phone call and he asks the person if Quita Maxwell has been arrested. Candace, wants to know the story, and Oscar says that he's being paid by the criers to get $12 million back away from Wyatt. Candace wants to help and get a percentage of the recovery, but Oscar says that he can handle it on his own. He knows that they're both idiots, and he could get the money on his own. Then the conversation goes to Jeffrey being locked up in jail for murder. Oscar warns her that maybe you need to make some other kind of arrangements just in case Jeffrey decides to talk. She orders him away from her, and then she calls Veronica wanting to talk. I don't think that Jeffrey is going to say anything. I think it would be very unwise for him to say something, seeing as he was the one who killed Quincy. His wounds, his stab wounds, were the fatal ones. So I think it is in Jeffrey's best interest for him to stay quiet. I think he needs to be quiet. I think that's the best thing for him right now. Now, Hannah and the medical examiner. That's the next two people on the list. And in my opinion, one of the best scenes of the night. Absolutely. The medical examiner gives Hannah the last of Quincy Jr.'s possessions, things that he had in his pockets. There is a note, and I think there's also a toy. The note is a prayer. Now, I have to confess that I couldn't read all of it, but from what I could read, it said, "Help Grandma stop yelling, and for Mama to be a better person and to care for me better." Hannah cries and says, "I'm sorry, precious. Grandma is so sorry." In my opinion, it was definitely one of the best scenes of the night, and I just thought it was definitely the best and most heartfelt scene of the night. It seems like sometimes with this show there's a lot of sniping, but there are some lovely, wonderful, emotional moments in this show, and this was definitely one of them. Absolutely. The next two people we go to is Justin and Jeffrey. Justin comes and gets Jeffrey out of jail and back into the interrogation room. Justin comes on to Jeffrey and asks him, "Are you doing okay? Are you okay? Are you doing fine? What's going on?" Jeffrey wants to know if he found his father. Justin says that he found his father's cell phone number and called it, but there was no answer. Jeffrey says to call from his phone and he will answer. He gives him the password, and Justin says that he will try and get in touch with him. Justin tries to comfort Jeffrey, but he just wants to go back to his cell. Justin tries to get fresh with him, but the subject soon turns to his wife, which sets Justin off. Justin doesn't want his wife being brought into this. Justin, has not even talked to his wife and doesn't care to anytime soon. He only cares about Jeffrey. Jeffrey certainly cares now because she is a judge who can make, his life a misery, seeing as she has a connection to other judges. Justin thinks that it's all about Jeffrey, but Jeffrey says no, this is about both of us. Justin wants to know if Jeffrey truly loves him, but Jeffrey can only answer that he barely knows Justin. Justin says that you not loving me means that I did all of this for nothing, that it was all in vain. Jeffrey tells Justin that he does love him, which we all know he really doesn't mean. Justin comes on to Jeffrey again, and again they have sex. I mean, this is the second time already. How many times he gonna pull him out of that cell? And Justin, oh, he just looks crazy. He looks absolutely crazy. It's one thing to be jealous and possessive, but he's taking this way too far. I mean, you can tell that he's enjoying this. He's enjoying, having Jeffrey at his mercy, and I mean, he is taking full advantage of it. I mean, this is just, it's really, really crazy. Justin really needs help. Now, the next two people we go to is Landon and Charles, which was a very strange scene for me. And after I finish recapping it, I'll tell you what I mean by that. Now, Charles, is in a hotel room somewhere, and he can't get his tablet to work, and Landon tries to fix it. Charles is apparently lonely and bored, and I think he's missing Candace. Charles compliments Landon, saying, "What would I ever do without you?" And vice versa. Landon says that he loves his job and it's a pleasure working for him. Landon says that Charles is real, decent, honest, and has a true compassion for people, and there's a lot to admire about him. The problem with the tablet is that one app, the top secret clearance app, is causing all the other apps to fail. He is also going to have to get rid of the tablet altogether. Charles says that it is for his kids, but Landon says that he will have to talk to them. Then Landon, who senses that he's lonely and bored, invites him out for drinks as friends, and Charles says yes. Now, as I said before, this was a very awkward scene. I really don't understand what's going on here because, for the most part, Charles has really been very adversarial toward Landon. Now, all of a sudden, he wants to be friends. And also, Landon, we all know how Landon is once he starts drinking. So this is, what's going to happen in the later episodes with these two is really, really going, to pop off. And it may go off in a bad way. Also, I have to think about Oscar. Oscar said that he has people on the inside watching him. And I think that Landon is one of those people. And if I had to guess, Landon is one of Oscar's spies. And I think that Charles knows about that and is trying to play him somehow. That's just my theory. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but it was just a strange and awkward scene. It felt a little forced, and we're just gonna have to see what's going on between those two. I just think it's something nefarious and something wrong and something bad. I can feel it coming. Now, the next three people we go to is David, Erica, and Candace. At David's house, phones are ringing off the hook. As he plans a picnic for Erica, they both try to ignore the ringing phones. But then Erica decides to answer it. Candace is calling Erica, leaving threatening texts on her phone. When Erica calls Candace, Candace threatens her life and wants $100,000 from Erica. Erica says that it may kill the plan that Candace set in motion, originally. But Candace could care less about it. All she wants is the money. Erica agrees and puts on a false front in front of David and hangs up. They both sit on the floor and they have their picnic. So it seems to me that Candace hasn't really learned a thing from Warlock. I mean, to me, she's becoming Warlock. I mean, she's doling out these threats. Give me some money or I'll kill you. And it just feels like Candace is not learning from her past mistakes. She's just carrying on. She's just carrying on, with her bad plans. And as we all know, they always fail in the end. Now, the last scene of the night is Veronica, Benny, and Hannah. Hannah, who is still at the hospital, runs into Benny and Veronica. Veronica is at the hospital and she's on a gurney, and Benny is holding her hand. Hannah sees this and she's very, very unhappy with it. And that is where our episode ends. Thank you so much for watching my video, and come back next week for the next installment. The next episode will be called Undercover Vice, and we'll have to see what goes on there. My MVP of the episode is Quincy Jr. Because of the prayer that he wrote out. I thought that that was so sweet of him to write that. He's still, even though he's dead, he's still very much alive in Hannah's heart. And I so wish that he hadn't died. So for that, I name him my MVP. Come back next week for the next episode, and I thank you one more time for tuning in and watching my video. Enjoy your life as I do, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much.